lethal. Back to you, Wolf.
Carol, thanks very much. Let's get back to our top story right now. President Bush sets off a political firestorm by hinting that Barack Obama and other Democrats would appease terrorists the way European leaders sought to appease Adolf Hitler before World War II. Democrats are furious, especially the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Joe Biden. He was very quick to react. He used a bad word that we can't repeat here on television. Senator Biden is joining us now live. Senator, thanks very much for coming in.
I shouldn't have used that word. I came off the elevator and I was confronted with what had happened, and I responded. I should have just said malarkey, but the essence of what I was saying is absolutely accurate. This is outrageous.
Why is it outrageous?
Two reasons. One, it's a disturbing pattern. Here you have the presumptive nominee last week saying that Danny Ortega and Hamas likes the Democratic nominee. Draw your own conclusions. Then President Bush goes to a foreign country addressing the Knesset and makes a veiled and totally inaccurate assumption and comment that Barack Obama, not using his name, is ready to engage in appeasement, when in fact it's absolutely outrageous. Here's the President of the United States criticizing and calling appeasement the willingness to sit down and talk with Iran about what our mutual interests are and what their problem they're creating for us. And this is the same president who apparently doesn't know his Secretary of Defense, Secretary Gates, says we should sit down with Iran. The Secretary of State says we should sit down with Iran. They've been explicit about it. If I had time, I'd read their quotes to you. Is he going to fire them when they come home? And the disingenuous part here, Wolf, is if that's appeasement, then he's the biggest appeaser we've had in modern history. What did he do? He sat down with Gaddafi, that is, the administration did. They cut a deal with Gaddafi, a known terrorist, a guy who, in fact, killed Syracuse University alumni like me, the school I went to, shooting down and taking down a plane, not shooting down, blowing up a plane. And what did he do? He made a deal with him. It was the right thing to do, but he made a deal. And what else did he do? We have a very talented State Department guy negotiating right now head-to-head with the North Koreans. Kim Jong-il has been part of making sure the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction around the world, yet we're making a deal. How do you square those two things?
Here's the comment that Barack Obama made at one of our CNN debates in February that seems to have got him in trouble, certainly with President Bush and John McCain and even some Democrats. I'll play the clip for you.
Yep.
I would meet without preconditions, although Senator Clinton is right that there has to be preparation. It is very important for us to make sure that there was an agenda, and on that agenda was human rights, releasing of political prisoners, opening up the press, and that preparation might take some time. But I do think that it is important for the United States not just to talk to its friends, but also to talk to its enemies.
Now, John McCain, the Republican presidential nominee, he said that Ahmadinejad just the other day referred to Israel on its 60th anniversary as a, quote, stinking corpse. And he said, what would meeting with Ahmadinejad for a president of the United States possibly achieve?
What would a meeting with Kim Jong-il achieve? Kim Jong-il has said equally outrageous things. Kim Jong-il has nuclear weapons. Kim Jong-il has proliferated those weapons to Israel's enemies. And yet the Republican administration sat down and cut a deal with him. There's only one reason to do it, and that's to stop the behavior. Since when does this administration think if you sit down, you have to eliminate the word no from your vocabulary? And the other thing is, what are we doing? This administration has made Israel less safe. It has emboldened Iran. They are closer to a nuclear weapon than they were before this president became president. Their policy has been an abject failure. And so what are we going to do? Anybody who suggests changing that policy is somehow appeasing, when in fact the policy this administration has pursued, by the admission of our own intelligence community, has created more terrorists than we have dissuaded or defeated, when it has made us more vulnerable than we were before he became president? This is outrageous.
How worried are you, Senator Biden, that these kinds of assertions by the president, by John McCain, and you know the Republicans are going to be raising a lot of questions about Barack Obama, assuming he's the Democratic presidential nominee and his capability of being commander-in-chief. How worried are you that the questions that they throw out, the assertions they make, will resonate with large numbers of Americans?
I'm not worried about that. You know what I'm worried about? I'm worried about President Bush's standing in the world continues to plummet. The rest of the world looks at that kind of statement and says, my God, what is he talking about? They listen to my friend John McCain make the statements he made. What happens? The price of oil will probably go up now. Why? Because the rest of the world thinks, oh, my God, these guys may actually take us to war. If there's no room for discussion, no room for negotiation, no room for a peaceful settlement, what does that mean? It means war. It means war, and the rest of the world, including our own Defense Department, including our State Department, knows that would be folly. So what it does in the meantime, before we get Barack or Hillary as our president, we have 9 months of further declining respect for the United States of America and its policies. That's what I'm worried about, and I sincerely mean that, Wolf. What has happened is, how do you think this fell on the ears of the leaders of our allies in Europe? How do you think this fell on the ears of the leaders of those we need? We're trying to rally against Iran around the world. This is totally counterproductive.
Are you absolutely convinced that that Barack Obama is committed to a secure Israel?
Absolutely, positively, unequivocally. A secure Israel is over not only the morally imperative, and I have, you know my record, Wolf, 35 years of commitment to Israel. I got the scars on my back to show it, as they say. But beyond the moral commitment, there is a strategic necessity for our commitment to Israel. And I am absolutely, thoroughly convinced that Barack Obama feels that strongly. He serves on my Foreign Relations Committee. I know his views on this. And the irony of all ironies is that President Bush has made Israel more vulnerable. Prior to his going into Iraq the way he did and the way he's conducted the war, what was the situation? You had Iran boxed in by Sunnis who hated them, headed by a bad guy who we took down, and you had in Afghanistan an enemy on their east and their west. We went in and did them a great favor. Right. We took both of those people out. Now they're stronger. Israel is in more jeopardy. Hezbollah is stronger, all because of this president's policies. And so the irony is, if Israel's security is important to us, you better well change and elect Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton president, because they understand that.
We're out of time, Senator. Are you ready to endorse one of these Democratic candidates?
No, I'm not. I made a commitment to the Wolf, as I told you when I got out, when they asked me to join their campaigns, that I would not endorse either one. Right. Whoever became the nominee, I'd work like the devil for.
Senator Biden, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
As